What's up, guys? What's up? It's Jflood201, and I'm coming at you with another reaction straight from the East Coast here. Alright, so there was a terrible tragedy that happened over the weekend, the long weekend, the holiday, July 4th, which I guess was Monday. Just an awful, fucked up situation where somebody opened fire in a crowd using weapons and killed a large number of people. Is another mass shooting incident here in America, which has become all too common. And I want to do a little preface before I start this video. This is in no way to be like clickbait, grab art. I happen to have heard earlier from someone when I was talking about it that the shooter was a SoundCloud rapper. And I didn't believe him, and he pulled up the music videos that this guy had made and showed me it, and it was pretty fucked up and disturbing. The channel, before they were criminals, just released a few hours ago basically like a whole video about the shooter. So we're gonna watch it, we're gonna learn a little bit about this fucked up kid. Maybe it gives some insight as to why his mental health was so terrible that he decided to take lives. But really, there's never an excuse for that kind of behavior, and I hope, I kind of wish this was one of those situations where he wasn't really able to be left to the courts. I think that in these situations, when the cops go in there, I want those fuckers to give the cops every excuse to just blast them. Because honestly, there's no takeaway from guys like this. We're not going to learn anything that's meaningful. But it is important to study crime, to study this, to try to save lives. Anyway, we like to talk about rap and news, so we're going to get into it here. Thank you for getting through the preface. We're going to get right into this video. The Illinois mass shooter was a SoundCloud rapper. Let's talk about it.
According to reports that are pouring in from the state of Illinois, Robert Crimo, the perpetrator of a deadly attack at Highland Park during the recent 4th of July festivities, was a mystery, even to his own family. Described as a real quiet kid who most of the time kept to himself, this wannabe YouTube rapper has a face etched in tattoos and is now directly responsible for the death of 6 people and the wounding of dozens more.
Yo, yeah, anybody with face tattoos like that who's a SoundCloud rapper and has 2 different colors of hair, go fuck yourself. Especially little fucking weasels like this. Excuse all my cursing, but really, this guy just looks like such a herb. Like, as someone who has views and shares them online, as someone who's involved in the culture, involved in this, as someone who's a fan of hip-hop, we do not claim him. You know what I mean?
More. Thankfully, Robert, the man who was first identified as a person of interest, has now been apprehended by police. And while he has yet to be formally charged in the shooting, authorities believe that they have found the man responsible for these heinous and violent crimes, after capturing him near Lake Forest, Illinois. By now, we've all witnessed, or at least heard about the destruction Robert left behind in his wake, and they're harrowing images to say the least. But who is this kid really, and did anyone in his inner circle have any inkling of what was about to happen? Well, you're about to find out on our newest episode of Before They Were Criminal. According to his IMDb profile, Robert Eugene Crimo III was born on September 20th, 2000 in Chicago, Illinois, and comes from a family of Italian descent. Robert grew up as a middle child of 3 siblings in Highland Park, Illinois, a small city with a population of just over 30,000.
Wow, he's got brothers and sisters. That fucking sucks. Do you know how much shame you bring to your family? Like, I would not want to be related to this guy.
People. In a bizarre case of serendipity, the current mayor of Highland Park, Nancy Rotering, actually knew the suspect years ago when she acted as his Club Scout leader. When asked to describe what Robert was like as a child...
Yeah, so the mayor of the place where this went down actually was the leader of the guy's Cub Scouts unit. So, I don't know if you guys remember, but I remember being in Cub Scouts, and I remember the ladies who were the Cub mothers. They were the leaders of the whole unit. It was these wonderful ladies. One of them was like this just awesome woman who like drove a lifted truck. She worked for like a construction company. You know, I think she had her own construction company. Like she was like a lady, and even though she was a lady, she was like a foreman. So like mad props to her. She was a great example of just women in the workforce to look up to. Because my mom was a teacher and wasn't like that. She wasn't driving no trucks and anything. And then the other lady, I think she was like a nurse or something. She was just so nice. She was like somebody's mom. So like, yo, like this kid had a good life, good upbringing.
Rotering would tell CNN, many years ago he was just a little boy, a quiet little boy that I knew. It breaks my heart. I see this picture and through the tattoos, I see the little boy. I don't know what got him to this point. Expressing a non-dissimilar sentiment is Robert's uncle, Paul Crimo, who has stated to the press that he's heartbroken over the events that transpired on the 4th of July. When asked if there's any warning signs leading up to that moment, Paul would tell CNN, there were no signs that I saw that would make him do this.
That's BS. Listen, there's always signs, even if it's just strange behavior, talk about suicide or violence, weird art, self-harm, buying weapons, just there's always some precursors.
To the best of Paul's knowledge, Robert was not currently employed, but prior to the pandemic, he had been working at a local Panera Bread. Paul was also unaware of his nephew's political views, only describing him as a quiet, lonely person who kept everything to himself. Before this nightmarish scenario unfolded, Robert lived in a small apartment behind his family's house in Highwood, Illinois, that was owned by his father, Bob Crimo Jr. The suspect's father is a former convenience store owner and a current proprietor of a local deli. More interestingly, Bob also ran for town mayor against Rotering in 2019. While Rotering campaigned as an opponent of assault rifles, it's currently emerged that Bob is probably on the opposite end of that spectrum. After all, only a couple months ago on May 27th, he liked a tweet that read, "Protect the Second Amendment like your life depends on it."
Yo, that's crazy. So the little kid's dad was a gun nut. Shocker!
Happened just days after the mass shooting that transpired in Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas, killing 19 children and 2 teachers. As for Robert's mother, she's been identified as Denise Pensina, a Mormon who works for alternative therapies, also known as Trilogy Energy Systems. While no one close to Robert appears to have any inkling of what was about to unfold, his social media activity painted a foreboding and dark picture of things to come. Robert posted music on several major streaming platforms under the moniker of Awake the Rapper, including albums in 2017, 2018, and 2021.
Yeah,
more recently,
so this is what I've seen.
He titled Brainwash, that includes tracks with names like Dead Again and I Am the Storm. In general, he averaged around 16,000 listeners a month on Spotify before they wiped his music off their platform over the past few hours. Which I honestly think is for the better, because we all know how people tend to get more popular after, tragedies happen.
Yeah, so I think that this was like a ploy to do that, because when I went to his videos, or when my friend showed me one of his videos earlier, it had millions of views. And I'm thinking to myself, this fucking kid, like, wow, what a fucking scumbag. Did he really, do this in order to promote his... Anyway. It's a fucked up dark thought that has crossed my mind. And, I mean, we're making videos about it right now. Like, am I part of the problem? Am I facilitating this? Do I have a role in any of this kind of behavior? I think not. I'm just viewing and commenting on culture. I'm an American, my best friend lives in Chicago. I would never want for anybody to be hurt or harmed, especially not someone who's just out to celebrate the 4th of July and is just a good civilian. I mean, this guy, nothing here, nothing discussed here, nothing shown here promotes this person in any way. That's all I want to say.
Or produce some extremely violent.
We'll take it back a few
tragedies happen. It's an ugly thing that happened. Robert produced some extremely violent videos for his music on YouTube featuring ominous lyrics and animated scenes of gun violence. The majority of this content has now been taken down, but in one video titled Are You Awake?, a cartoon stick figure resembling Robert's appearance is seen wearing tactical gear while carrying out an attack with a rifle. In another music video titled Toy Soldier, a similar stick figure is depicted lying face down in a puddle of his own blood, surrounded by police officers with their weapons drawn. Robert was also the administrator of a Discord channel named SS, a moniker made famous by the Nazi paramilitary group who are largely responsible for carrying out the numerous atrocities during the Holocaust. Yet another video uploaded in October of 2021 appears to be a combination of many of his other videos into one. As of right now, this video is being described as a possible manifesto and contains a rambling voiceover from Robert where he says things like a sleepwalker, I am breaking through. My actions will be valiant and my thought is unnecessary. I know what I have to do. In the background of this music video are newspaper clippings that mark the death of Lee Harvey Oswald, the man responsible for shooting JFK in 1963. Clearly, a majority of Robert's online postings reflected a desire to inflict mass carnage on unsuspecting victims long before he actually did so.
That's fucking... See, that's what I'm talking about. It's like, why are you admiring the JFK shooter? Like, why are there animated deaths in your video and shit? I guess it's art, right? It's art until somebody does something like this.
Mayor Rotering would herself admit during an interview on NBC's Today.
We know that several postings really reflected a plan and a desire to commit carnage for a long time in advance.
Which only makes it all the more tragic that those closest to him were unable to prevent what was about to unfold. It started as a typical July 4th celebration in Highland Park. The party goers, largely all white and affluent, which is keeping with the community's demographics, all showed up to partake in a day of lighthearted festivities. Prior to this event, the town only had 2 murders in the past 20 years, according to the available crime data, and absolutely nobody was expecting what came next. Only 15 minutes into the midst of the celebration,
that's like this going down in my town. Like not to say that my town's some perfect town, but like I live in a quiet suburb. We have murders go down, we have crimes go down, there are suicides, like you know, you read about it, you hear about it in the paper. I even think in the town that I was in, sometime back in the late 80s, there was a suicide club, and a couple of the high schoolers like killed themselves all on the same day. I don't know how true that story is. I'm pretty sure it's based in fact, because I looked it up once. But anyway, I forgot what my point was, but basically I'm saying that this town sounds perfect. It sounds like a nice slice of suburban pie. And I'm not talking about the demographics. What I'm talking about is the fact that they only had 2 murders in the past, what was it, decade? In the past 10 years, 20 years? That's a safe environment, you know? So, what is this? It defies all logic. Looking for reason in this type of an act, there's no reason.
10:15 a.m., the first shots rang out. The marching band immediately broke away from the route and started sprinting down the street. At that point, everyone in attendance knew what was happening. There was an active shooter on the loose. Reports would later reveal that Robert climbed an unsecured ladder that was attached to an outdoor equipment store known as Gearhead Outfitters. Upon arriving on the roof, Robert opened fire on the crowd, killing 6 people and injuring dozens more. One witness would tell CNN, it sounded like fireworks going off. It was pandemonium. People were covered in blood and tripping over each other. It's unclear exactly how long the shooting lasted for, but by the end, several of the deceased victims had died right there on the scene, with one later succumbing to injuries while being treated at the hospital. 38 of those people injured were aged between 8 to 85, and all of them were sent to North Shore University Health Center. All but one of these victims were suffering from gunshot wounds, and at least 5 of them were children. What's worse is after the attack was over and the dust had settled, Robert had somehow made his escape. Reports suggest that he did so by dressing up in women's clothing and fleeing the scene, but he wouldn't get away with it for long. The smoking gun that would lead to Robert's capture was quite literally that. The high-powered weapon that police claim was similar to an AR-15 that he left behind at the scene. Police were able to ascertain that the weapon was purchased legally, and this led to Robert's front door. Early Monday evening, the police raided the home Robert shared with his father in Highwood. Now, it is unclear what, if anything, was found, but Robert wasn't home. Thankfully, authorities wouldn't have to wait long to find him. During an attempted traffic stop, a North Chicago police officer recognized Robert's silver car and license plate. Robert then attempted a brief getaway, but the cops were able to chase him off the road and secure him. As of right now, that's about all we know about this developing case. Here's to hoping that when this all works itself out, that Robert spends the rest of his natural life behind bars for what he's done. As for the victims, our prayers and well wishes go out to their many, many family members. I mean, I can't even imagine what these people are going through right now. You never really expect something like this to happen, especially in a quiet and sleepy town like this one. But I mean, let's be honest, with the recent uptick in gun violence that just seems to constantly be escalating in the United States, pretty soon we aren't going to be shocked anymore. Sickened and saddened, of course, but shocked? I don't know, maybe not. Something does need to be figured out to curb this violence once and for all. Thank you everybody for watching. My name is Clyde Smith. Please take a second before you head out to like, subscribe, and to...
Alright, so let's talk a little bit more about it. We've talked this whole time. You've watched me process this video. We watched it together, and all I can say is that this guy, this child, this young man, is a coward. He epitomizes cowardice. And he is an agent of chaos and probably the devil. And all I mean by that is there's a certain realm of actions and stuff where it transcends logical thought, and it enters the realm of spiritualism. And what I mean is that there's no way to explain this. There never will be. And when things can't get explained, that's when us as humans, we look for answers. And a lot of us will do it either in spiritualism, whether that's religion, whether that's therapeutic healing, whether that's mental health, whether that's, processing these horrific tragedies that are going on now in America and in our community. And really, like, you have to understand that there is evil in the world just as much as there is good and there is love, whether that love is between you and your girlfriend, you and your boyfriend, you and your dog, you and your parents, whether that love is between you and music, art. It could even be money, right? Like, there's so many things to make your core belief. It sounds like this kid was struggling and did not have any core beliefs and was really mixed up, because there's no way you hurt people otherwise. And I am not trying to humanize him. Frankly, I think he should just be, right? Get him out of the gene pool, right? But it's just, it makes me sick to think that someone who was a rapper, someone who was in the hip hop community would ever do some shit like this. And yeah. And I really hope that nobody goes there looking up his videos and all this shit. We won't even bring up his rapper name. They talked about it in the video. So if you do want to see his stuff, I'm sure you can do some deep diving and look it up. I've seen some of the videos and they're just exactly that. They're nonsense. His rap is not very good. And it's more like poetry, spoken word. And then the videos are all like, Microsoft Paint shit. So whatever, man. Fuck that kid. Fuck him. Screw him. I hope someone in jail gets at him and wets him up. Yeah. Seriously. So we didn't learn anything, and what we can take away from the video is that this guy is a failed SoundCloud rapper and that he sucks. But what is more interesting is all this stuff about him being tied to the community, it being a safe place to live, his dad being a gun nut, and being involved in politics. You have to wonder what kind of a home life and what kind of like spiritual diet this person was on. Because I'll tell you right now, like, if you ingest nothing but hateful material, you're going to feel it. You're going to live it. If you want to be a good person, surround yourself with good people. Read good books. Read things that have happy endings. Understand the nature of kindness, goodness, purity, right? If you want to be evil, what do? You start hanging out with evil people, making decisions that are incorrect or selfish, things that take advantage of others or harm people. And it sounds like this kid decided to be evil in the most evil way he could think of. And that's it. That's all I have to say on this. Screw that guy, fuck his rap career, and I hope he never gets out of prison. Alright, this is Jflood201 with my reaction, and yeah, you can see I'm hurt. I'm disturbed and I'm disgusted. But we got to learn a lot about the shooter. Anything that you would ever need to know is right there in that video. I'll put a link in the description. Before They Were Criminals or Before They Were Famous is a great channel. They cover a lot of content that's like this. If you like this kind of thing, go over there. Because I don't know if I could do any more of these. But, man, this shit's crazy. Prayers and thoughts to all of the victims and the family. And I know that doesn't mean anything. So I really hope that we think consciously in this next election cycle. And, we vote our interests as Americans, and we put this on the platform as something that needs to change. Young people should not have to fear public gatherings. Anyone. Just American citizens shouldn't. And that's kind of where we're at right now with all this gun violence. So please, like, you know, say a prayer. If you're spiritual, you know, I'll be finding out if there's a link, and maybe we can get some money over to like a group that's trying to help the victims and the victims' families. I know that there was one for Uvalde, and if there is, I will include that link in description also. All right, guys, that's enough for me. Enough of this stuff. Let's find something happier. All right. Jflood201, thanks for sitting through this with me. We certainly learned a lot. All right. Remember to keep peace and hip-hop together. Hip-hop is not supposed to harm people, and rappers, listen, there's nothing cool about taking life. I know that we talk about it in the drill music and that we discuss it even sometimes on the channel, but there's nothing ever cool about violence. All right, that's enough. That's it for me. Jflood201. You know, like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.